You have already crossed the threshold. There is no return. Look at you, armor on, blade at your side. Everything a warrior needs, except the one thing that matters most, stillness. Your feelings run your life like a general who panics at the first sound of distant thunder. Someone criticizes you, you crumble. A plan fails, you collapse. An unexpected obstacle appears. You retreat into anger or despair. You are not a warrior. You are a weather vane. You spin with every wind that passes. The armor means nothing if the man inside it shakes. The blade means nothing if the hand that holds it trembles. Stop shaking. Your life is a wall with no foundation. Every criticism lands like a stone thrown at wet clay, and you let it reshape you. Every rejection tears out a section. Every failure removes another brick. You have rebuilt yourself so many times in response to other people's judgments that the original structure no longer exists. You do not know who you are without the reaction. You have confused sensitivity with depth and instability with feeling. A wall that collapses at the first impact was never a wall. It was an arrangement of loose stones waiting for the wind. Build the foundation, or stop calling it a wall. You bend with every storm, and not like bamboo which bends but holds, but like a reed with no roots, dragged by the current into whatever direction the water decides. Your anger is not power. It is evidence that something outside you controls something inside you. Your fear is not wisdom. It is evidence that the world has more authority over your mind than you do. Every time you react without choosing to react, you hand your life to the thing that provoked you. The reed does not choose its direction. The rooted warrior does. Choose your response, or admit that you are still a reed. Look at the water. One small stone, one careless word, one unexpected setback, one moment of disrespect, and the reflection is gone, destroyed by a ripple that will fade in seconds. This is your mind, perfect in stillness, useless the moment anything disturbs it. You believe your emotional reactions are natural. They are not. They are habits. Patterns of response you have rehearsed so many times, they feel involuntary. The moon does not disappear when the water is disturbed. Only the reflection does. Your truth does not change with your mood, but you act as if it does. Calm the surface. Your blade is rusting, not from disuse, from exposure. Every time you let anger corrode your judgment, the edge dulls. Every time you let fear dictate your decisions, the metal weakens. Every time you let the approval of others determine your worth, another layer of rust forms. You are corroding yourself from the outside in, letting the weather of the world eat through the steel of your character. The blade does not rust in the sheath of discipline. It only rusts when left unprotected in the elements. Protect the steel. Decide what the weather is allowed to touch and what it is not. You have no fixed north. Every morning you wake up and check the weather of your emotions before you decide who you will be today. Confident yesterday because someone praised you. Destroyed today because someone did not. Your identity is not yours. It is borrowed from the last person who spoke to you, the last outcome that arrived, the last feeling that passed through. A warrior with no fixed north cannot be trusted, not by others, and not by himself. He is useful only when conditions are favorable. The world does not offer favorable conditions. It offers the storm. You must become the compass that does not move. Your anger feels like power. It is not. It is fire on your own armor, burning the man inside while leaving the surface looking dramatic. You mistake intensity for strength. You mistake emotional volume for conviction. The warrior who shouts has already lost his center. The man who weeps at every obstacle has already surrendered to it. Emotion without discipline is not passion. It is destruction. The fire that is contained heats the forge. The fire that is uncontrolled burns the house. You are burning your own house and calling it warrior spirit. Contain the fire. Use it. Do not become it. The storm rages around you. It always will. The world will always produce criticism, failure, loss, disrespect, and chaos. This will not stop. What must stop is your insistence on being moved by it. In the center of every storm, there's a place of absolute stillness. The eye. The eye does not fight the storm. It does not resist it. It simply exists at a different level, untouched, calm, and completely aware of the destruction surrounding it. This is FUDOSHIN, not the absence of storm, the presence of stillness within it. Find your eye and refuse to leave it. The mountain does not negotiate with the weather. Rain comes, the mountain is wet. Snow falls, the mountain is white. Wind howls, the mountain stands. The mountain does not become the rain. It does not become the snow. It does not become the wind. It remains what it is, regardless of what passes over it. Your emotions are the weather. They will come. They will pass. They are not you. They are conditions moving through you. The man of FUDOSHIN does not deny the weather. He simply refuses to become it. Feel the rain and do not become the storm. You are the mountain. Act like it. The steel feels the heat. It must. The heat is what shapes it, but the swordsmith does not feel the heat the same way. He uses it. He directs it. He remains in control of what the fire does rather than being consumed by it. This is the difference between the man of FUDOSHIN and the emotional man. Both feel, but only one chooses what to do with the feeling. Your emotions are not the enemy. Your unconscious obedience to them is. Feel the anger, but decide where it goes. Feel the fear, but decide whether it leads. You are the swordsmith, not the steel. What you see above the ground is only the result of what exists below it. The tree that survives the storm does not survive because its branches are strong. It survives because its roots go deeper than the storm can reach. Your visible life, your performance, your decisions, your reactions, is only the branch. The root is your inner state. And your inner state is not determined by what happens to you. It is determined by the depth of your practice. A shallow root produces a tree that falls. A deep root produces a tree that weathers everything. Go deeper. The storm is coming. It is always coming. A flame in still air burns perfectly vertical, straight, clean, and without waste. The same flame in wind flickers, bends, wastes its energy in all directions, and may go out entirely. The flame has not changed, only the conditions around it have. The man of FUDOSHIN is the flame in still air, not because his world is without wind, but because he has built a stillness inside that the external wind cannot reach. This inner stillness is not passivity. It is the most active state available to a human being. It takes more effort to remain still than to react. Protect the stillness. Let the flame burn clean. The general who stands on the hill sees the battle clearly. The soldier who is in the battle sees only what is directly in front of him. Your emotional reactions pull you into the battle when you should be on the hill. The moment you are inside the emotion, you lose the view, you lose the strategy, you lose the ability to respond rather than react. FUDOSHIN is not coldness. It is the discipline to maintain the hill view, to feel the heat of the battle without descending into it. From the hill, every move becomes clear. From inside the storm, nothing is. Stay on the hill. The river does not ask the stone's permission to flow around it. The water comes fast, cold, relentless, and the stone does not move. Not because it's aggressive, not because it's fighting the water, simply because it has decided what it is, and the water is not included in that decision. The criticism will come, the failure will come, the disrespect and the loss and the unexpected will all come. You cannot stop the river. You can only decide what you are made of. Stone does not become water, no matter how long the river flows. Decide what you are made of. Then hold that decision absolutely. Between the provocation and the response, there is a space. It is small, measured in seconds, sometimes in fractions of seconds, but it exists, and in that space lives your freedom. The reactive man has no space. The provocation and the response are fused. One triggers the other automatically, like a trap. The man of FUDOSHIN finds the space. He widens it through practice until it becomes a room, then a hall, then a fortress. In that space, he chooses not what to feel, but what to do with the feeling. Find the space, widen it. Your entire life lives inside it. Every emotional storm passes. Every fire eventually becomes ash. The anger that consumed you last week, where is it now? The fear that paralyzed you last month, does it still hold the same power? Emotions are not permanent. They only feel permanent while they are burning. The man who has learned FUDOSHIN knows this, and in knowing it, gains the ability to wait. Not to suppress, not to deny, but to wait with the certainty that the fire will become ash and that the ash is manageable. The storm always ends. The question is what you destroyed while it was burning. Close your eyes, see what you have built and what you have destroyed with your uncontrolled emotion. The relationship damaged by anger that was over in an hour, but whose words lasted years. The opportunity lost because fear spoke louder than preparation. The respect you burned with a reaction that felt justified in the moment and catastrophic in the morning added up. This is the hidden cost of the undisciplined mind. Not dramatic failure, but the slow erosion of everything worth having, one uncontrolled moment at a time. The storm is always brief. The damage it leaves behind is not. See it clearly. Think of every hour you've spent in anger this year, the hours replaying the conversation you should have had, the hours consumed by the resentment of someone who has forgotten the offense already, the hours spent in the emotional aftermath of a moment that is long past. Calculate the hours. Now calculate what you could have built with them. The anger felt important. It felt necessary. It was neither. It was noise. Expensive, exhausting, self-destructive noise that you chose to amplify instead of release. Anger is a fire. Fire has a purpose. But fire left burning after the forge is done destroys the workshop. You have been burning the workshop. You are chained to the opinions of people who are not thinking about you. You check, obsessively, repeatedly, whether you are liked, whether you are respected, whether you're seen as successful. And when the answer is no, or silent, or ambiguous, the chain pulls tight and the day is ruined. This is not sensitivity. This is slavery. You have outsourced the management of your inner state to people who have not applied for the job and would not do it well if they had. Take it back. Your inner state is not a democracy. It is not subject to a vote. It is yours, or it should be. Reclaim it now. Where are you going? Not today, in life. Do you know? Can you hold the answer steady when the world pushes back? Or does your direction change with every storm? Confident when praised, uncertain when criticized, ambitious when comfortable, defeated when challenged. The man without FUDOSHIN has no true direction. He has a direction for each weather pattern. When conditions are good, he moves forward. When conditions are hard, he retreats or collapses or pivots to something easier. He mistakes the storm for a sign. The storm is never a sign. The storm is simply the storm. Your direction must survive it unchanged. Your reactions are a mirror, and the mirror is cracked. Every situation that triggers your emotion is distorted by the crack before you see it clearly. The criticism feels catastrophic because the mirror makes it larger than it is. The failure feels permanent because the mirror makes it darker than it is. The disrespect feels like an assault because the mirror makes it more threatening than it is. You are not responding to reality. You're responding to reality as filtered through a cracked mirror of unexamined emotion. Fix the mirror, not to the world, the mirror. When the reflection is clear, the response becomes proportional, and proportional response is power. Every emotional wound you carry was a test you did not yet know how to pass. The betrayal that broke your trust, the failure that broke your confidence, the loss that broke your certainty. These were not defeats. They were the moments when the clay of your character was fired, and the cracks that formed are waiting to be filled with gold. FUDOSHIN is not the absence of being broken. It is the mastery of the repair. The man who has been shaken and learned stillness is stronger than the man who has never been tested. Your wounds are not your weakness. They are the map of what you survived. Fill them with gold. The world will keep striking. That is its nature. Not malice, not conspiracy, simply the indifferent force of reality pressing against everything that exists. The bell that rings at the first tap, it keeps ringing long after the sound should have faded. That is the emotionally undisciplined man, amplifying every impact into an event, every event into a crisis, every crisis into an identity. The bell that rings clearly once and then returns to silence. That is FUDOSHIN. The impact is real, the response is proportional, and then silence. Ready for the next strike. Not still damaged from the last one. Strike. Silence. Ready. Stand in the cold water and let it strip away the emotional residue you have been carrying. The resentments from last year, the embarrassments from last month, the low-grade anger that has become your default state so gradually you no longer notice it. The cold does not negotiate. It does not offer comfort. It simply removes what does not need to be there. This is the practice of FUDOSHIN in its most physical form, the deliberate exposure to discomfort until discomfort loses its power over you. Every cold thing you face willingly makes you less reactive to the cold things that arrive without invitation. Stand in it until the cold is just cold, nothing more. You do not build FUDOSHIN during the storm, you build it before it arrives. The samurai who trains only when conditions are peaceful will be unprepared when conditions are not. The protocol is simple. Every morning, before the world demands your reaction, you practice stillness. Not because the day will be easy, because it will not be. You are not preparing for comfort. You're preparing for the storm you cannot predict. The discipline of stillness, practiced in peace, becomes the reflex of stillness available in chaos. Build it now, in the quiet, before the first provocation arrives and finds you unprepared. One breath, that is the entire practice, between the provocation and the response. One breath, not to suppress the emotion, not to plan the perfect response. Simply to insert the space that prevents the automatic reaction from running your life. One breath makes you the archer, not the arrow. One breath returns you to the hill, away from the battle floor. One breath is the difference between a reaction that you will regret and a response that you will respect. Practice this in small moments. The minor irritation, the small disappointment, the trivial disrespect, so that in the large moments, the breath is already a reflex. One breath every time. Emotion is not the enemy. Uncontrolled emotion is. The fire in the forge is the same fire that burns the house. The difference is containment and direction. Your anger, contained and directed, can fuel the most disciplined action of your life. Your grief, processed and transformed, can become the deepest compassion. Your fear, acknowledged and examined, can become the sharpest preparation. The practice of FUDOSHIN is not the elimination of emotion. It is the mastery of its direction. Every feeling has a purpose. Find it, use it. Do not let the fire burn where it was not meant to burn. Master the forge, not the absence of fire. The mind must be tended like a dojo, swept clean each morning. Obstacles removed, the floor clear for whatever practice the day demands. You would not train in a dojo filled with last week's debris, yet you enter each day with the emotional residue of every previous day still cluttering your mind. The unresolved anger, the lingering embarrassment, the accumulated small resentments. Clean the dojo. Each morning, before the practice begins, clear the floor. What happened yesterday has no place on today's floor. The practice requires a clean space. The storm requires a prepared mind. Sweep it, every morning, without exception. No one is watching. The criticism is not coming today. The test is not scheduled. The audience is absent. And the standard remains exactly what it was when the audience was present. This is the private practice of FUDOSHIN, maintaining the same inner state regardless of external conditions, not performing calm when the world is watching and collapsing when it is not, not performing strength in public and indulging weakness in private. The samurai who holds his stillness only when observed has no stillness. He has a performance. True FUDOSHIN requires no audience. It simply is. In the dark, in the quiet, when no one would know the difference. The gate is visible even through the storm. It does not move. It does not apologize for the weather around it. It simply stands, unchanged by the rain, unmoved by the wind, as present in the storm as in the calm. This is what you are building. Not a life without storms, a presence that the storms cannot obscure. The man of FUDOSHIN does not become invisible in difficulty. He becomes more visible, because while everything around him bends and breaks and loses its shape, he remains. The gate in the storm is more powerful than the gate in the calm, because its presence in the storm is proof of what it is made of. Be the gate. FUDOSHIN does not mean passive. It means the stillness that precedes total commitment. The master calligrapher is not calm because he does not care. He is calm because his care is so complete, so absolute, that it is moved beyond agitation into certainty. The brush falls with total force, not because he is angry, but because he is still, not despite his passion, but through it. This is the highest expression of controlled emotion, not suppressed feeling, but feeling so mastered that it flows directly into action without the noise of internal conflict. Still inside, total outside. The brush falls. The mark is made. FUDOSHIN is not a destination. It is a practice. Renewed every morning, tested every day, refined through every storm. There's no point at which you have achieved enough stillness to stop training. The storms will escalate. The provocations will become more sophisticated. The tests will find new forms. This is not discouraging. This is the nature of mastery. The standard rises with the practitioner. Every storm you survive with stillness intact makes you capable of surviving a larger one. The stairs go on, the practice goes on. This is not the burden. This is the life. Every step up is a storm survived. Every storm survived is a step up. Keep climbing. You have found it, not permanently, but in this moment, in this breath, you know where it is. The eye of the storm is not somewhere else. It is not a distant achievement. It is here, in the space between the provocation and the response. In the moment when you feel the pull of the reaction and choose something different. The eye is always available. You simply have to choose it, consciously, until the choice becomes a reflex, until the reflex becomes your nature. The storm has not stopped. It will not stop. But you are no longer in the storm. You are at the center of it. And the center is still. Your light is steady now, not because the wind has stopped. The wind never stops. But because you have built a shield around the flame that the wind cannot penetrate. This shield is not isolation. It is not emotional distance. It is the accumulated practice of 10,000 small choices to remain still when the world demanded that you move. The lantern that holds its flame in the storm is more valuable than 1,000 lanterns that glow only in calm. Your steadiness is not a small thing. In a world that is increasingly reactive, a mind that remains still is the rarest and most powerful thing there is. Hold the flame. The storm has passed. Look at what remains. The branches are bent. Some are broken. The leaves are gone. The surface of your life may show the marks of the weather, but the root holds. The root always holds when it has been given the time and the practice to go deep. This is the promise of FUDOSHIN. Not that you will feel nothing, not that nothing will affect you, but that the root will hold. That after every storm you will still be standing. That the damage will be to the surface, not to the foundation. The branches grow back. the leaves return. The root, undamaged, begins the work of restoration. Stand. The root holds. The incense burns. The smoke rises, straight, clean, without deviation. Not because there is no wind in the world, because the flame is sheltered, because the practice has created a space where the smoke can rise undisturbed. This is your presence now, not loud, not dramatic, simply steady, in a way that the world around you can feel without being told. The man of FUDOSHIN does not announce his stillness. He simply is still. And in a world that is constantly in motion, constantly reactive, constantly noisy, stillness is the most powerful statement available. You do not need to explain what you have built. It speaks for itself. Let the smoke rise. These marks were made in the dark. In the sessions, when no one was watching and stopping, would have been easier. In the mornings when the storm was already in your chest before the day began. In the moments when you felt the pull of the reaction and chose the breath instead. Each mark is a storm survived. Each mark is a moment when you found the eye and stayed in it. You do not need to count them. The post knows, your body knows. The practice has accumulated into something that cannot be taken from you. Not by criticism, not by failure, not by any storm the world produces. The marks are your proof. You held. The world will test you again. A storm will arrive that is larger than anything you have faced so far. A provocation more sophisticated. A loss more total. A challenge more personal. This is guaranteed, and when it comes, you will feel it, fully, completely, without pretense. FUDOSHIN does not make you numb. It makes you capable. Capable of feeling the full force of the impact without being destroyed by it. The bowl has been broken and mended. It will be broken again. But each mending has made the gold lines thicker, the repair stronger, the bowl more itself. Break, mend, return. You are not the same man who was first struck. You are more. Look where you stand. Below the cloud line, the storm is still raging. It always will be. But here, above it, the air is clear. Not because you escaped the storm, you are still part of the mountain that the storm surrounds, but because you climbed high enough that the storm's reach does not extend to where you stand. This is the fruit of FUDOSHIN, not the elimination of difficulty, but elevation above its most destructive range. You can still see the storm below. You understand its power. You have felt it, and you are above it. The view from here is not comfortable, but it is clear, and clarity is everything. The video ends here, but FUDOSHIN does not. FUDOSHIN is not a state you achieve and keep. It is a practice you return to every morning, every provocation, every storm. What you carry from this screen is not a technique. It is a reminder of what you already know, that the storm is not you, that your reaction is a choice, that the I exists, always, and you know where to find it. Put the device down, step into whatever storm is waiting for you today. Feel it fully and remain unmoved, not because you do not feel, but because you have decided what you are. The storm is the test. You are the mountain. FUDOSHIN.